All right, welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, it's the Saturday Sports Personality here on Atlantic Television Network. Ekpo Temple is my name, and I have one man who you would love to be on your screen. I tell you, and this is the truth. And whenever I have him, it's always a delightful moment. Mr. Matthew Edafe is not just a sports personality. He himself is not just a sports pundit. He is the CEO of the Elegbete TV. He's an enthusiast and one man who wants the development of Nigerian football and sports generally. Mr. Edafe, I'm so glad to have you on air today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I don't know if that introduction is for me. It seems larger than life, but let's have fun.
Okay, so today on the show, we'll take a look at Armand Duplantis. And a lot of people will be wondering why we have chosen him to be our sports personality today.
I am wondering myself.
Yes, because we want to use his success rate to examine Team Nigeria and to see what we can do, you know, from events that that are not renowned, like they are not popular, sporting events that are not popular, what Nigeria can do to elevate, you know, this in all ramifications. And so I will start by giving a little background check on his profile, and then I will come with some lovely questions that will elicit reaction from you, Edafe. But for those who know Duplantis, he was born into an athletic family in Louisiana. His American father, Greg Duplantis, is a former pole vaulter with a personal best of 5.80 meters. While his Swedish mother, Helena, is a former heptathlete and a volleyball player. He has two brothers, Andres and Antoine, and his younger sister, Johanna, took up the sports too. So, the family, they are renowned for sporting activities. That's what it means. Now, he started building his career, and he also followed his elder brother into trying to become a pole vaulter. He attended Louisiana University, State University, where he became the team's career hit leader in 2009. And I will start by asking, Edafe, when you have a family that are sports inclined, does that help shape a child to becoming, to be very good in choosing sports or career?
Well, first off, one of the things that we've not come to agree with in this part of the world is that sports is also genetic. Behavioral scientists will tell you that most of the things that we do today are inherited inherently from our parents. So if your parents look at Robert Lewandowski, for instance, the father and the mother were deeply into sports, and look at the kind of athlete that he turned out to be. And you could take that from a lot of other athletes. So sometimes it is environmental. Like I always say that if you grow up in GRA, let me use Port Harcourt for instance now. If you grow up in Forces Avenue, GRA area, you might not be able to play football because your environment does not position you for that. I don't know what it is today, but
that's correct. Today, that's correct.
Different environment. Good. But if you grow up in, say, Romola, there's SBS in front of you, there's Olanada Primary School in front of you. If you grow up in town, there is a whole lot of places. Grow up in Borokiri, grow up in Woji, grow up, So it is also environmental. But if your parents are athletes, look at Kobe Bryant, one of the hardest working basketball player. I wouldn't say one of the great, but it's on the top 5, so one of the greatest basketball player to ever lead. You will notice that he inherited most of his genetics from the dad. So it is one of those things where you see that it is both nature and nurture all combined to make you a good athlete. But then there is the discipline, there's the commitment to training, there is the whole going the whole 9 yards of putting in yourself, because it's not just enough to say because your parents are athletes, then it means that you'll be great. It means that Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi and Maradona and Luis Suarez and Ronaldo da Lima and Pele would have produced the next generation of the greatest football players again. There is also the part where you need to put in the shift, and that part is your own responsibility, your own duty to your genetics. You already have the genetics in you. It's like having a check for $1 billion, but you still have to go to the bank to go cash it. If you don't go to the bank, you just have a piece of paper that is of no value to you. You might die of hunger and poverty.
That's very lovely. I love that analogy. And that takes me now to his background. He has the option. Growing up, He of course he lived with his father and parents, in the US. So he had the option of the US and Sweden. But I'm just thinking why he chose the mother's, country to represent them instead of the US, where obviously he would have had the opportunity to even become more renowned. So why do, in terms of country selection at that level, what are the key factors? I know that the mother played a key role also, but what do you think are part of the reason why the choices of where to represent as they grew up, to global popularity?
So one of the things that I've always said about life is, and we use this analogy a lot to when people argue about our born in the abroad footballers, why most of them, Mikel Obi came out the other day and said some will be waiting for England or France or Germany or whatever to select them, and then when they are old, like we saw in the case of Shola Amobi in 2014, they will not choose Nigeria. Basically, let's use Nigeria as a case study.
Yeah.
Most Nigerian parents, when they travel abroad, they fill their young ones, their babies, with the information that Nigeria is bad, Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that. The stories is always negativity. So the children, when they grow up to choose sports and they want to represent countries, nobody want to represent a bad country. So let's use the case of Duplantis, for instance. One of the things that I know and I've read before from one of the articles that I stumbled on some years ago was the fact that one is a mommy's boy. Yeah, and then beyond that, they always went on holidays, vacation, or as Americans would call it, vacation, to Sweden.
That's
and
correct.
so he fell in love with Sweden as a kid.
That's
growing
true.
up.
That's
and then
true.
when you look at the opportunity for a poll voter for the sport that he does, it's not really, like the basketball or baseball or NFL, or as I call it, American soccer, one of those trending sports in America. It's one of those sports that really do not have stronghold in the US. So he chose his mother's side where the opportunity lies, and the father also supported. It wasn't you must go all America. It's red, white, and blue. No, if you want to go to the yellow stripes, let's go that way. As supportive of you as it would have been if you had chosen the American side of your blood. So it was that good. So it's all those positive stories that's been told about Sweden, the things that are good about Sweden, why Sweden is one of the greatest nations in the world, and all that. And to add that, I'm happy that I chose Sweden. Sweden is my second country, just the same way Port Harcourt is my second state in Nigeria. So I'm happy that I chose Sweden is representing us. So it's a very good one. But I think that it's the information. You know how they say that the things you put into the children are more important than the things you save in the bank for them, because the things you put into them, nobody can take away from them. But the things you put into the bank can be wasted away. So the information he was giving, a man took the information he was giving from a very young age, and that helped him in making an informed decision around the sport that he has chosen. I'm sure that if he had chosen basketball, he would have chosen America.
That's very correct, and that takes me now to the question of at what child? We'll come to Nigeria proper, Team Nigeria, and we'll ask the big question: why we are not living up to expectation when it comes to global sporting events? Now, Duplantis started from age 3, and before you get to 7, like you said, genetically he was already building up, but from age 3 and to 7, he was already building up. And that argument that a black man cannot win a gold medal if he does not start early, do you think with his story it aligns with what we share here in Africa?
I think that it's not an argument, it's a reality. If you don't play tennis past the age 5, if you've not gotten into tennis past the age 5, you never win a Grand Slam. If you don't play golf past the age 5 or 6, you'll never win a major. And for football, you could still sneak your way in through the back door. They call it the poor man crude oil. So you can sneak your way through the back door and still, if you avoid football if you meet football at the age of 12, 13, 14, you might not be a great footballer, but you could still make a living out of it. But then there are certain sports that if your body, gymnastics, for instance, if you don't do it from the age of 2, 3, you are out of it. You're not going to be, you can still do contortion, you can still bend, you can still somersault, you can still go and put block like a cross, the one we normally do in Borough Pit back in the day. And, you would somersault, You will do backflip like Agawa and Obafe Martins, but you cannot use it in gymnastics and win an Olympic medal. You can even appear in the Olympic, you won't qualify. So there are entry level age where you get into the sport, and then your body can conform to the rigors of the trainings and the demands, that the conditioning that it requires. But for us, I think that there's a phrase that I've used to sum it up for Nigeria and most African countries, especially within the west coast of Africa. The problem with living on luck is that you don't know when your luck will run out. For Nigeria especially, we're always living on luck. Now, when we do something and it happened positively, that's why Nigerians are the most irresponsible people in the world. This is not to disrespect us. Nigerians are so religious that we leave everything in the hands of the divine on both sides, the good side and the bad side. So a Nigerian, for instance, will be driving and he have an accident. He will not come out and say, I've been look that girl when he passed the roadside. I was pressing my phone or something. He would say, the enemies have gotten me. Who's your enemy? Who are you that you have an enemy? If something goes right for a Nigerian, it is God. If it goes wrong, it's the devil. So when you have that kind of mindset or that kind of principle, it's hard for you to really plan, because how do you plan with God? You don't plan with God. But since you believe that it is God that will come and do it, He is the Almighty, He is the All-Knowing. If it doesn't work today, it's because God is testing your faith. God is testing to know whether you can be patient. So, I mean, we can go to the Olympic and not win. I will say God wanted us to learn something. We went to 2012, they say we brought the spirit of the game. We went to Tokyo, we said God taught us a lesson. I don't know what, okay, this time around, God showed us a minister that can explain. So it's different. If you don't get into the sports properly, and it requires not just you now. You know, sports have become scientific. So first off, you need to get in early. But then again, you need to have the right coaches. You need to have the right infrastructure, the right conditioning environment, and all of that. It takes a whole lot. And then they've not added nutrition to it. Before, we can eat a bar. 30 minutes later, we're going to play football. We'll still win. We'll say we are good. But these days, it's no longer like that. Conditioning, food, temperature, sleeping, the type of bed you sleep, the type of mattress you sleep on, the type of pillow you put your head on. There's a whole lot. And the more scientific the game is, sports is going generally, the further away it is from us. I'm not surprised that Morocco got to the semifinals of the Olympics football event. We're seeing the kind of investment they've been making. And let's not forget that two other parts of the world are coming into play now in sports. The Arabs are coming in. The Chinese are coming in. And the more these other new players come in, the further away we will be from podium and medals and all that. So it's really a long shot for us unless we fix our house.
And I mean, beautiful. I'm just wondering, because if you look at, the success rate of the person in question, Duplantis, from age 3 down to, he's just 24, and he has achieved so much. But he has broken records and records. And I ask myself, at what point will a Nigerian be celebrated? Yes, we celebrated Amushan a few years ago when she broke the record, and she's still the record holder. But I mean, after then, what else? But lastly, on Duplantis, before we talk about Team Nigeria, sometimes, I mean, the only barrier that would have hindered him when he chose Sweden is the language problem. And he took it upon himself to study Swedish language, and today he's very fluent. So, generally, what do you think? Okay, yesterday we also talked about a discus thrower who represented a shot putter who won for Germany, who is from Nigeria. We also saw a young lady who also represented the US, got silver, and the question continues, and just like that. You know, are there things that the US should have done, you know, to win back the love or to make Duplantis represent them? Apart from the reason you gave, which of course the mother, the strong penchant she had, you know, he had in childhood. Are there things that the US should have done, or you felt that they already have enough talent? Maybe they are not even sure of what this young man would have become, you know. So do you think they are regretting letting him, you know, be part of Sweden?
America is a very, very competitive nation, and they want to dominate in everything. To America, sports is not just, some poor kids who want to go win medal. To America, everything they do is deliberate, intentional, and strategic to establish their dominance on the global stage. I'm thinking that, I mean, 21 years ago when this kid started doing pole vault, it's not majorly an American sport. So they'll be looking at it like, oh, I mean, your mates are catching, following baseball, NFL, playing American football, and you're here trying to use the pole to jump. Where is the space for that even? So Americans were not really into it. And then when he grew into form, he had made his choice. Regret, maybe, because if you leave it to Americans will want to have all the gold medalists, the Usain Bolt, everybody who wins anything major. Americans will want it to come from them, whether you're Messi, whether you're Cristiano Ronaldo, Pele, Zidane, and the rest of it. But like they say, you can't catch all the fish in the water. There's always going to be some that will slip through your hands. With the kind of success, who wouldn't want to have that kind of person? Even as a Nigerian, I would want him to be a Nigerian. But America also, they are successful enough to the point where they can let this one slide and say, okay, yeah, so then you can take this one and know that we trained this one for you. So it's okay with them. But I know that deep down, somebody will be saying, I wish I was the coach that coached him and is representing the American 50 states or whatever.
Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll focus more now on Team Nigeria, their exploit at this year's Paris Olympic Games, and what next for us. This is Sports Personality on Atlantic Television Network.
Het is Feyenoord. Feyenoord gaat door. In de beker. Over en uit voor Ajax. Feyenoord beker verder. Wat de Kuip trilt is een understatement. Ik vraag me af of hij al blijft.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
right, welcome back from that short break. If you're just joining us, it is the Saturday Sports Personality here on Atlantic Television Network, and I have Edafe Matthew with me here, who of course is giving us all that we need to know about the man we are profiling this morning. Duplantis, the man they call Modo. And of course, we've talked much about him, but it's time now to look at what he performed recently and lessons for Team Nigeria. I mean, we saw gloriously how he was able to break a record. He broke his own record 3 years ago, and he did it again at the Paris Olympics. What a man, he is. And of course, now he's a double Olympic champion. And that reminds me of a lot for Team Nigeria. Mr. Daffy, have we had a double Olympic champion before? Have we in our history?
No, we haven't. We haven't had a double Olympic champion. So we don't really set ourselves up. Let's be very honest here. We don't set ourselves up by the matrix and the requirement to win Olympic medal. We don't set ourselves up to win Olympic medal, whether it is gold, silver, or bronze. We under-prepare and hope to God that last minute a miracle would happen. Whether some people will be disqualified, some people will have a false start, some people would not just play well. There's not an Olympic medal that we've won that is born out of Nigeria boldly saying, because we put this together, this is why we arrive at this point. Have you not noticed that every of our success in sports have ended up with disaster? We won the Nations Cup in 1980. The following year, we got knocked out in the group stage. Our national team deteriorated for over 10 years. We won again in 1994. Okay, let's say politics stopped us from going to 96, and then we were banned in 98. And then in 2000, we came back and we got to the finals and lost. And then that was a success, even losing in the finals. And then it took us to 2013 again. By 2013, when we won it, we failed to qualify for the next one. And then our football have been in the spiral fall since then. We went to the Olympic in 96 and won gold. In jumping by what's it called, Chama Ajua, football team, and since then look at how it's been. Because we do not everything about Nigeria. Let me tell you, it's not just sports. There is not a Nigerian rich man, successful person. If you look at abroad, you see Bill Gates can come out and tell you how he made his money. His father gave him $100,000 and then gave him contact and all that. And through that, he sent email and then he got partners and did business. Mark Zuckerberg can tell you the same thing. Even go to China, Jack Ma and the rest of them can tell you. Robert Kiyosaki can write a book about that. Have you seen any Nigerian successful person write a book step by step of how they became successful? They only go to events and tell you, and God did it. What did God do? Every of our successes, and God did it. And God did it. There is not a Nigerian successful person. Let's even leave sports, because we always try to put sports on the front burner. There's not a Nigerian successful person that can write a book. Successful. How? Even in the politics that they do, can write a book and say, I did this, follow this step. If you follow me too, you would succeed like that. That's not a person now. That's why we're also frittering the success away, because the success that you did not work for, that did not go according to plan, you do also have a project, a plan to sustain it. That's why we've not seen a first, second, third, or fourth generation wealth transition in Nigeria. And when you look at the Apple campus, for instance, you'll be asking yourself, with all this money that people have in Nigeria, how come nobody is able to build that in Nigeria? When you look at the Google campus that is on 450,000 hectares of land, that is so massive, it's like Disneyland. Or talk about Disneyland. Talk about it. How many of those kind of things that you've seen Nigerians build? People say they like America, they like America. America is not built by government. It's built by private enterprise. People who've worked hard to build all of this real estate of money mines, right? Which one have we been able to do? The owner of Arsenal, Stan Kroenke, built a stadium off his pocket, $5.5 billion off his pocket, no government funding, right? How many people in Nigeria can boldly say they can put $10 million to build a stadium in Nigeria? So we've not set ourselves up to be successful in sports, and we delude and lie to ourselves that we're the biggest, most populous nation in Africa. We love sports more than everybody. It's a lie. We don't love sports. We don't even have a sporting culture in the first place. We don't have a system that is set up to make sports grow and thrive. So when I see people complain when we don't win at Olympics or any major event, I'm asking them, what investment have we put in that is eliciting this your type of expectation, that's making you feel like Nigeria is supposed to be on podium? I see a lot of people on social media complaining that, oh, we didn't make it to podium. And I say, hello, how much is the budget? Because to get to podium takes 6 years of work.
That's correct.
And take a minimum, let's say for track and field, take a minimum investment of between $450,000 to $1 million in investment on training grants, medical treatment, all of the things that go about coaching, facilities for 6 years. Can Nigeria come out and say we have invested $100,000 or $50,000 in any of our athletes in the last 6 years? The answer is no. So why are we trying to invest in a farm that we did not plant in, or we did not even help to weed grass from? Why? Because some of these athletes were lucky to go to school and they were trained. In 1986, Carl Lewis said this, and I quote, "America cannot use its facilities and its institution to train people that would in turn come and compete against America in competition." If you look carefully, in Athens,
and it looks like that's what's happening. It looks like
in Athens, but that's it. In Athens in 2004, Usain Bolt was a flop. Why? He was training in an American facility in the US. His coach told him, let's go back home. They went to Jamaica, trained in a school. If you go watch that documentary, trained in a school that is not really good. It's like Rume Pricom or Obiakpo Grammar School in Ozoba.
Yeah.
But guess what? He was trained by his own people with an agenda that they must win, not for him to be second best or training material for an American athlete. Guess what? He went to Beijing in 2008 and ran 9.69. And that's the change of the story of him winning multiple medals in multiple disciplines in the Olympics. And today is the symbol, is the face of athletics in at the Olympics. My point here is we can't expect that the house girl will be sent to private school while the children of the house will not be sent to public school. What does that mean? Nigerians who think that the American facilities, American institutions would train our athletes to be better than their own Shekari and the rest of them, we are delusional, right? We are going to be used as house help to help groom American athletes, and then we would do, we would struggle. When we're using all American basketball players to go play or to go compete at the Olympics, we never got past the group. We never won a single game. This is the first time we went to the Olympics and we're not using an all-American cast. We're using athletes from Europe and other parts. Did you not see how much progress we made?
That's
even
correct.
though we lost to the US, but you
That's
can
correct.
see the difference. So the handwriting is on the wall, and this time it's not written mene take care of a saying for us to need an interpreter or Holy Spirit to translate for us. It's written in our language, it's written in English. It is up to us to wake up to the reality. Unfortunately, we are too egotistical, we're egomaniac in the way we think, and we are so entitled. We don't raise our own, we don't train our own, we don't produce the right coaches, we don't set up the right infrastructure, but we just wake up and think that we can go to the Olympic, get a sports minister who is on Twitter explaining failure over failure over failure, and think that that's how we can achieve success. That's not lessons learned yet. What has happened in this Olympic that did not happen in 2012? Let's be very honest. Everything that happened in this Olympic now happened in 2012. What has also happened here that did not happen in Tokyo 3 years ago? We don't learn anything. It's not new.
Except for the fact that in the last previous Olympic, we never had a world champion going into a world record holder going into those Olympics. So what happened yesterday to emotion?
That world record holder, let me explain that to you. That world record holder was trained by a school in the US who needed more grants. So let me tell you how the schools abroad work. The more A-list athletes you train, the more funding you receive. Now, if you go to the Olympics, that doesn't count. But when you go to World Championship and the rest of them and you win, you get more funding to produce more. So that was done to benefit the school that she belongs to in Texas. and
Okay.
that increased their grants and their funding. Olympic does not follow that. So whenever we say we have more world champions, when the time now comes for country to country performance, you now notice that one, did we take a coach that went without a world championship to this Olympics?
No.
Did we take the nutritionist that went to her when she went to the world championship? She might be representing Nigeria, but her team, her cast, the team that is standing behind her are not Nigerian. So now we go to the Olympics and we started. How did we sabotage this Olympic? We took this team after the All-African Games, at the African Games in Ghana in March. I was in Ghana. We did well. We competed well. Toby won the hurdles with ease, with not getting past first gear. Ese Brume, the same thing. Now, we brought them in. We were going to Douala. We camped in Benin, Edo State. They put them on a bus, on a coastal bus, very tight coastal bus, athletes that depend on their leg to function, and drove them by road from Benin. People forget that part. From Edo State to Benin Republic. That's about 10 to 12 hours, adding all the pit stop and all the rest to Benin Republic. And from Benin Republic, they took a flight to Douala. When we went to Douala in Cameroon, most of the athletes did not even come out to perform because now they had fever, they had swollen legs and cramps and the rest, they didn't perform. That's where the victimization of Favor of Philly started from. That's where, coaches, the mundane coaches started thinking that more important. Ministry officials started saying they would deal with these athletes. And then you psychologically ruin these athletes. And then you now expect them to go to the Olympics and all of a sudden they just rise up. Samson, the enemies are upon you. You've cut their dreadlocks. You've cut their hair.
And I'm just it's getting interesting, listening to you, S3, some of the challenges that a lot of people will not know, but I'm just thinking that all this you've analyzed, they gave them money, motivated them, they gave them grants.
They did not give them money.
Okay, no. But the minister came out to say that everything has been done to ensure that they are motivated to win medals for us at the Olympics.
Because we have a minister who does not even understand the job that he's doing. This minister have a chance to go into history. First of all, this is the first ever sole minister of sports that we've had.
That's true.
In the history of Nigeria. We've always had ministry for youth and sports. I, alongside a few other people, fought for that ministry to be separated for 12 years, from the Goodluck Jonathan administration to Buhari to this one, and eventually it was separated. And you don't go to the Olympics and give people money and say, I have given you money. You give them money 6 years ago, 8 years ago, minimum 4 years ago, and then you place a demand on that money. Hello, I'm giving you this grant. And I need you, my target is for you to be on the podium. What color of medal, I don't know. But now use your own pride to determine that you want gold. But everything you need, from the water you would drink, to the bed you will sleep, to the medical attention that you would need, I will provide the money for you. Not when I have gone to train on my own, feeling frustrated, not even knowing where that money is coming, and then during the game you give me money. That's medicine after death. Because other countries are prepared and prime their tools or their athletes to come and win medal. And now money is not an issue. Money was a distraction in 2014 at the World Cup, where we qualified from the group stage to play against France. The players were counting money overnight. And when we played against France, we were the better team until the 70th and 80th minutes, and then Matthew Valbuena happened. Money have always been a distraction in tournament. Money is a requirement before tournament, long before tournament. When we get to tournament, athletes or sportsmen should not be thinking about money. Should not be, have you gotten your alert? Have you received your... No, that shouldn't be their problem. That money should have been there since to take care of almost everything that they need. And then when they show up here, they are coming out to give you return on investment. But the minister is swinging the story like, we give them everything they want. No, you did not give them everything they want. I'm sorry, sir. You took money from government and you know you cannot return the money. So the normal political will spend the money so that some will remain and then they will be unaccounted for. That's the reason why you do that. We all know this crap. So nobody should come out and gaslight anybody and who hug anybody and make it feel like, oh, they give them everything, upon you know the way we talk, upon everything where they even give themselves, they're not feeling anything. No, that's not the truth.
But I mean, earlier you talked about sports science, and I've taken my time to look at the areas of medals. I mean, the medals won by states like the US, states like China, the Republic of China, and also France. Not even forgetting Australia. I took my time to look at what is the way forward. In 4 years' time, it will be in America. What can we do to enhance this approach? What can we do to have these things in, part and parcel of our sporting system? How do we get sports science as a mainstay in Nigeria? I'm just thinking.
We will not win anything in Los Angeles for years time. We will not. We don't have. First of all of these athletes that are now prime athletes for Nigeria, the Ese Brume, the Toby Amusho, they will play too. This is the top. This is the end of their reign in the sports. So they will play too. They will crash. We will start new ones. The new ones that needs to come are going to go to the next Olympics as their first Olympics. I don't know anybody who's gone to their first Olympic and won anything. So not even the Shakaris, not even the Usain Bolt, not even the Michael Johnson, the Carl Lewis, and all these guys, unless it's team sports. So I'm talking of individual sports now, and we do not have what it takes. First, it starts with coaching. We have Yahaya, but Yahaya is individual coach to, I think, Ese Brume. I don't know anybody who can pay him right now. That's one. And Yahaya is not enough. We need 1,000 or tens of thousands of Yahaya to coach the next set of long jump and triple jumpers, right? We need coaches that will coach the next Toby Amuson. We need coaches in hurdles. We need coaches that will produce better than Blessing Okagbari. We need coaches that will produce better than Enofio Doobog. And in boxing, first of the sports that we even need to focus on: wrestling, boxing. Those are the easy medals for us to achieve. Athletics is not really our thing anymore. It used to be our thing in the 80s and maybe somewhere into the 90s, but right now the structure of athletics makes it almost impossible. The next set of people that will run for America and Jamaica are already being primed. They are already being primed to come in and take over. We have not even discovered our own. So at what point are we not going to catch up with them? So in Los Angeles, which is going to be one of the most exciting Olympics in 4 years' time, I'm not sitting here thinking we're going to be there. Have you realized that in football we've not qualified since Rio 2016? Because in 2016, Samson Siasia, myself, Abu, and a few other guys came together to raise almost 500 million for that team to qualify, to go camping, to prepare, where the sports minister was disowning them and all that. They got stranded in Atlanta, but thank God Delta Airline came in and they went on to go win bronze medal. And that bronze medal was as good as the diamond medal, okay? But since then, no coach have come into the under-23s who have clout and friends who can, bring out money and say, don't worry, if the government doesn't give you money, go and play your qualifiers, go and do your friendly, go and come somewhere. You can see that we don't even qualify. And those are the things that I'm talking about. You don't wait to the eve of the competition and just pay camping grants, pay that penny wise pounds foolish idea. Pay those money and say, go and perform. You have been motivated. What's motivation? Are you serious? You don't pay school fees for children. You wait for the eve of exam and you pay their school fees and you say you expect them to come out with distinction. Now, they'll come out with now. Come on, let's be very, very serious here.
And so I'm just looking at way forward now, and I asked myself, even in Africa, Africa this year also performed poorly, but thanks to countries like Morocco, thanks to countries like Kenya, thanks to countries like even Egypt,
Botswana, South Africa,
Botswana seems to be the biggest. For obvious reason, getting to win that 200-meter. Let's see.
20 years ago, Botswana invested in their coaches. Now, what you're saying now is the result of that investment. And people always think that we have to go to America to be successful. Ask yourself, how many of Kenyan athletes are coached by Americans? The guy that won the 200-meter, his coach is from Botswana. Why is the coach not an American? Why is he not a product of one American school? America will never teach you or train you to be better than their own. That's a fact. It's not something that we were discovering. In all facets of the world, the way the world is designed, there is no country that would allow you better than. Why is America angry with China, for instance? Because China is now becoming stronger than them, technological wise, military wise, and then all of a sudden they're angry with them. Why is America angry with Russia? Russia is not a bad nation. We were just deceived by Hollywood that Russia is a bad country. If you've ever visited Russia, you would love to stay in Russia than you would love to stay in America. But America does not like anybody being better than them. America sold us a notion that they were the ones that ended the Second World War. And everybody, they're a shining nation, they are the rescue. No, it was India that sent 1.2 million people to England to go and fight the war against Hitler. No, that's a different conversation anyway. But I'm just using that as an example. They say who controls information controls the balance of power. Now, people would describe you the way they want to describe you if they own the microphone. You know that thing they say in comedy, never argue with the man who is holding the microphone. America is holding the microphone and the camera and the light and everything, so they decide where to put the spotlight on. They are not going to train you to win medals over their own. They will train you, use you as training materials. I mean, I have a sister who's grown to the very highest level of the sports. Blessing Okagbare is my younger sister. And I remember when she called me and told me that an American athlete, who I'm not going to mention her name now, was training in the same training facility with her, and whenever she comes, she will say that the African athletes should get out of the facilities. If they don't go out, she will not train. And you know the funny thing, the sponsors, the people who pay to fund the facility, threaten to pull their funding. So they tell you, oh, your program have to cancel. Let her have the right of first refusal, priority right to training and everything, and you don't have to be there to see some of the tricks that she does. When she's done, if she decides to go from 45 minutes to 2 hours, you are going to stay somewhere else, be quarantined, and wait. Now, is that the kind of way we want to train our athletes? We have one of the best sports science facilities in Port Harcourt. How many of our athletes are using them?
It's
How
unfortunate.
many of our athletes are using them? It's just there gathering dust. So we invested how much money to gather dust in Port Harcourt? No, ask yourself those questions. You think a sports science lab in America is gathering dust? What are we researching? We are for the fact that we're on this platform, I can't. But what is the best thing that our science, our PhD holders, our doctors are doing in Nigeria? We're enlarging sex organ, if you know what I mean.
I
That's
understand.
something we know how to do yet.
I wish we have more time, but we're going to come back again. I mean, before the start of the Nigerian Premier Football League, because I know that a lot of questions that needs to be analyzed, answered too. And I've told our fans that if we're going to resume on the 31st, as I said, of August.
Are you sure we're going to resume?
I'm just thinking. Hopefully. But it's been a lovely time with you, Mr. Dafe. Always a joyous moment. I just give you the platform, and of course, I know that you are always going to take it and do the needful. We really appreciate the lovely wisdom and the knowledge you've dispersed here today. Cannot be overstressed. Thank you so much for being on our podium this morning.
Thank you for having me, but I'm sure going to send my invoice to your company because Saturday morning I should be sleeping and you guys wake me up early. Come on.
On short notice. Thank you so much for coming, and we appreciate it. It's been a wonderful time. This is where we call it a wrap on today's edition of Sports Personality. Many thanks to Dafe Matthew for being part of the conversation this morning. I'm sure he served you well as promised. We're back again next week, start today, for another lovely time here on ATN. Until then, have a blissful day. Ekpo Temple is my name, and I'm saying bye-bye.
Het is Feyenoord. Feyenoord gaat door. De beker over en uit voor Ajax. Feyenoord beker verder. Wat de Kuip trilt is een understatement. Ik vraag me af of hij al blijft.
From the line